It may have taken 7 episodes, but one of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Part 3, the complex most overt instances of foreshadowing and teasing has finally paid off in this week's episode, Gate of the Sun. In brief, this episode is mostly dedicated to Lieutenant Renji Abarai's and Uryu Ishida's anime-only duel. Not only did this fight never happen in the manga, but the two never even crossed paths in Bleach's original grand finale. The fight is everything fans hoped it would be, but there is so much more to it. Besides being yet another showcase of Pierrot Films' impressive animation, Gate of the Sun also fixes one of Bleach's biggest mistakes in the manga. Tite Kubo's most famous manga had very rocky endgame, to say the least. The arc started strong but drastically dropped in quality as it neared its end. Thankfully, 1000-Year Blood Wars anime has been helping Kubo tell the finale the way he's always wanted to, and Renji's big moment is another continuation of that. Simply put, Renji's animated exclusive fight against Ishida lived up to the hype. It's as amazingly animated as a Bleach fan had come to expect of anything from 1000-Year Blood Wars anime, and it finally rectifies one of the manga's biggest oversights. Due to the unfortunate combination of Kubo's poor health and its editors' demanding deadlines, Renji was pushed to the background during the final war, despite being one of the Bleach's core characters. Not only does Gate of the Sun give Renji the spotlight he deserved, but it gave him a whole new set of powers that fans will surely love. The same also goes for his opponent Ishida, who also gets to show up his seemingly bottomless strength. However, Renji's fight falls short of perfection due to its lack of heart. That's not to say that the fight was emotionless dud that got too lost in its own spectacle. That being said, Gate of the Sun's centerpiece was more informed by external circumstances than anything deeper and more meaningful. As per their dialogue before and during the fight, Renji and Ishida were mostly motivated by the Soul Reavers and Quincy's ancient food. More importantly, Renji was more offended in Ichigo's state about Ishida's betrayal than feeling hurt or angry himself. Given that Renji and Ishida become unlikely friends in the original Bleach anime, most notably during their tag team fight against the 8 Espada, Xylapurograms, it would have been better and even more tragic if Renji had a stronger reaction to fighting someone he genuinely considered a friend not too long ago. When contrasted to Ichigo's duel against Ishida, Renji's fight lacked in terms of emotion and depth. Ichigo felt everything from anger, confusion, and pain when he was forced to draw his sword against Ishida. Meanwhile, Renji was arrogant and confident throughout the fight, since he was too focused on showing off his new powers than on finding out why Ishida defected. Ichigo's and Ishida's fight was a tragedy, while Renji's fight with Ishida was a display of power and animation. Granted, this is perfectly in line with Renji's braveness. Additionally, his short confrontation still had a lot more going for it than he did in the manga, where it wasn't clear if he even knew of Ishida's betrayal. That said, a little more depth wouldn't have hurt. Thankfully, it was incredibly easy to get lost in yet another well-directed and animated fight. The rest of the episode sets up the coming fights between the remaining Soul Reavers and the individual suit staple, and it gets the job done. Gate of the Sun was obviously focused on Renji's and Ishida's fight above else, but it also teased the next fight and subplots. What these plot threads lacked in action, it more than made up for in characterization and small moments. It was fun seeing the Gote 30s officers, Ichigo's party and allies, namely the surviving Espada and Stone Reader, be mixed up in unlikely groups. This leads to some much-needed bits of comedy that elevate the tension a bit without completely ruining the war's foreboding mood. Additionally, it's also thrilling to see these same characters meet the imposing suit stable either in person or from afar. Minus a comedic chase between two new unlikely rivals in the first act, the episode's animation for these disparate subplots was more restrained than anything Renji or Ishida during their fight. This thankfully doesn't mean that it was a downgrade. Gate of the Suns is not the kind of anime episode that ill-advisedly put all of its resources into one fight, thus forcing the rest of the episode to be nothing but static close-ups and still frames. This episode's direction was solid enough that Soul Reapers running around or getting briefly injured evoked the same impact and shock that the sight of Renji's brand new powers did. Even if these scenes were less dynamic than Ishida unleashing a flurry of Quincy arrows, they were still so creative, energetic, and engaging that it was impossible to get bored. Following two episodes worth of setup and anticipation, Gate of the Suns kept the conflicts back on track. It struck a healthy balance between action and necessary downtime, sacrificing neither to give Bleach fans the kind of anime-only material they used to only dream of. The worst that could have been said about this otherwise consistently exciting episode was that Renji's fight against Ishida wasn't as emotionally resonant as it could have and should have been. Even so, the fight's mere existence and quality bodes well for the rest of the conflict. Just as this episode gave Renji his overdue spotlight and improved the war with stellar additions, the rest of the conflict and Thousand Year Blood War as a whole will do the same for characters going forward.